everybody. This is the monstrositous one, and I'm back here to show y'all a couple of my toys when I was a kid. Stuff that I made, not just stuff that I was bought. So when I was a real little kid, my father, we lived across the street from a couple of grocery stores, and they sold these little horses that came in bags. You could buy them real cheap. It was like bags of horses and with cowboys and Indians on them, and you can just play cowboys and Indians. You can see this one is the Indian's horse because it has no saddle, and these have saddles. You see, so that's just some of the cheap stuff that we used to get as kids, bag full. We used to get R.A.G.MEN, cowboys and Indians, stuff like that. So that's when like I had, Hulk. I got to show you the Hulk. Yeah, it has. This is some. I forget where I got it, but it has like a rubber bottom here, and then everything else is kind of moves. So I still have. I have a big one that I bought years ago as an adult, but these are from my childhood. So that's another one. And we have this. I think this is a horse from the leg broke here, this front leg. But this is a horse from the Lone Ranger and Tonto, and I believe this is Tonto's horse. But I had the Lone Ranger. Did I have the Lone Ranger too? I think I did, but it's broken. I lost it years ago, so I don't know where that is. But you can see even the hoofs bent. So I kept this mainly because it would help me in learning to draw horses better. So that's why I have this still. It's really good for that. Even though I have books on that right now, one of these days I'm gonna do a review on those books too. So then back in the days, we used to have a lot more uh, telephone repairmen on the poles. So when they be up on the poles, down on the street, there'll be pieces of long strands of wire. And then sometimes I would ask them, and they would let me. They would come down and give me a little bit, like a little short spool or something of wire. So I used to get the wire, and I used to make these guys out of. And you see today in videos online that they have a lot of these videos. A lot of videos where guys making stop action animation, they make a lot of wire armatures similar to this. And I was doing this back in 9, 10, so 11, and I got better, and I would take these and make smaller ones and use yarn to wrap around them, and you can see that when you play with it too much, it breaks. If you move them too much, see, I hardly move these around. I would put them in a certain position and then just do like this and have them fighting because I know that they would break. So that's how come they lasted so long. And these are the bigger ones. These are bigger ones. You can see much bigger. And here's a pen, so you can tell the sizes. This is I'm going to be trying to use this and my inking. This is one of these. It's an old fountain pen that you can suck the ink right up. It's an old Parker pen. I don't know from how old it is. I know my parents had stuff. Well, going through the drawers, I found pens, and I figured let me keep these because I could use them. It come in handy. Even though I have a calligraphy tip, nibs, and all of that stuff like that. I'm going to make sure I have another one here. But this one I can't open. I can't seem to get inside of it. So I'll see what I could do. But we're not here to talk about that. So this is one of the bigger ones, the bigger, thicker wire. And this is an adversary that I made to go up against him. And this is one of the weapons that I used to make when I was a child. That's made out of lollipop sticks or popsicle sticks. Not lollipop, popsicle sticks. Or tongue depressors. Tongue depressors. So, yeah, I would get a branch outside and make yeah, and this is what I plan on doing for my R.a.G.MEN. Speaking of which, uh, now we have, my father used to bring string home, so I used to make stuff out of everything I could get my hands on. Anything that I thought could be turned into something. See, but this wasn't a good design because the knee. I was trying to create the knee. You could bend it, but it wasn't readily used for that. That's why I put all of that trying to create the elbow here. So I was always in that creating the human form. Well, this was supposed to be more like a werewolf. I used to have him running on all fours like this. So doing stuff like this, flopping him around in fights. He can swing wildly. And you've seen this one in the other videos, so I would try to keep them certain sizes so that I can create a whole bunch of them, armies of them, so that I can have them fighting and warring. I have more, but they have more stuff on them, and right now I don't want to show that because of it could give away some of my technique for what I'm about to show for the R.a.G.MEN that I've been working on. And this is the next evolution. I made these when I was a little kid, like I said, around 9 to 10, 11, maybe 12. I doubt it because I was getting more into drawing and creating stuff. But this I made about maybe 20 years ago, 15, around 15, 12 to 15 years back, maybe 10, somewhere around there. I know my niece wasn't, she was around 12, 10, something like that, and I was trying to make this for her, but I couldn't finish it because I couldn't get all of the material on me. I went all over the place, around the avenue, the boulevard, to places that had material to sell, and I couldn't find any spandex. They was East Indian shops, and a lot of them only had East Indian type materials and the really colorful stuff. And I needed something stretchy that would give, so that when you moved, so when you moved the, the doll, you could have fun. And you can see the back here. This is how I was gonna develop the butt and the hips. This is how I'm gonna use the same technique on the bigger ones. Have the neck is around here. I don't know if I'm gonna have it at the base of the neck or the collarbone, going around the collarbone and then up around the trap here. But this is what gave me the idea for this one. Gave me the idea for making the bigger ones, and I was doing this, and I saw how the material crunched like that, bulked up, and how the arms was forming the shoulders like that. And so I was like, dang, the lats was here, kind of there, and this is supposed to be a female, but it came out so bulky, and the breast was kind of more like pecs. So it was a fail for it was kind of a fail. Um, but it was a success because it led to me creating, wanting the desire to create the skulls for my new R.a.G.MEN, a lot bigger. They're probably going to be close to 20, 22 inches tall, somewhere around there for the first. Then they're going to get bigger. The women might be smaller, 20 inches, because they're smaller than men. That's why I made them so big, so that when I make the women, I'll be able to make the hands and the fingers. I want to make individual fingers, toes, all of that. It's going to have my teeth. Let me show you. I've already started connecting the teeth and the jawbone. So on one of the skulls, these are early skulls. These are one of the first 3 skulls that I created. You can see the white, because I had the cork. These are 100% silicone and glue, and I made a mistake and grabbed 100% silicone. I wanted the corking, but I got them both now, so I can see the benefits of the cork. The glue, the 100% silicone is still very firm. You know, you can't really. You see, I'm banging it on the countertop here, but it's still very firm and it's thick. So yeah, it's thick enough and still sturdy enough to do what I needed to do. And then once I fill it in with the caulking and glue or whatever, or the silicone and glue or whatever to firm it up. But this is the teeth. This is how I'm going to connect it, upper teeth, and then the jaw. I already know how I'm going to connect the jaw. And then I left room so that I could cut this back and leave fangs for, if I want to create any type of Dracula, werewolf, any type of creature with fangs. So, and then you have the eyebrows. You cover this stuff up. Can't show y'all everything. Let me show you the eyebrows. This is one of my first ones that I connected the eyebrows to. You can see the cheekbones are already starting to work on the cheekbones, but this is why I want to show how I can have the emoting. You know, you can put the side down like this and have him emoting. You know, it's probably harder to see for you guys, but you see how now he looks angry. You see, and you'll be able to do that. There's ice holes right there underneath that, so when I get the sockets, so you could even do a rock. You could even do the rock. Have his eyebrow go up there. See, you can't see it because it's a unibrow, but you can put this down here, do that, and then do the rock over here. If it was individually, but this would be connected individually on the doll, on the. I keep getting caught up with that doll, man. I don't make no dolls. These are living statues, R.a.G.MEN. We don't fuck with dolls. When I was a kid, that's what I used to say when I made these. Take them out, and my friend's mother would, oh, you made some nice dolls. No, they're R.a.G.MEN. They're not dolls. I don't play with no dolls. So, yeah, so, I know if I can make eyebrows, I can make the lips. So we're gonna have a tongue, lips, opening teeth. You can be able to pose the lips, pose the eyebrows, pull the tongue out, stick out the tongue. All of these things, that's what I want. The individual fingers. If I can make this and lips, I can make fingers. So this is what I'm trying to do, and so that you know that I ain't playing. Got stuff in my way. Alright, let's move this to the side. Here's another skull that I made with the teeth. I showed you all this before. So this would tuck up underneath here, inside like this, and that would give you your teeth, and that would go inside, and then the glue would come down in here on the inside. Once everything is finished on the inside, I would put a hard layer of glue that would hold the top edge of these teeth in place. So everything, and then I'll double up on the back here so that you get some width to the back teeth. So, and then I'll do a little sculpting or whatever. to make it look more like teeth, I'm gonna be cutting and doing some grinding with the Dremel or whatever. So that's it. This guy's gonna be a big dude because he got a big skull. See, kind of a little bit bigger than the others. So he's gonna be kind of big, thick neck. Gonna have more muscle mass, a little taller. That's why I said it's gonna start off my baseline. I see, and I don't know if I'm gonna have him baselined. This first one, I don't know. His baseline is gonna be at around 5 feet, so that I can make shorter characters and work my way up to the 6 feet ones, which will probably take the size of these joints about 25 inches. Because I figured, let me see, every 3 inches would be a foot, every 4 inches a foot, times 5, 20 inches, yeah, 5 feet. So if I make this guy 5 feet, he's 20 inches. This is just a quick mock-up because I finished the shoulders. I attached the collarbone, but I figured, hold on, let me finish one I thought at a time. When I finished this around the 20 inches, that would make for 5 feet, and every 4 inches would be a foot, right? Every 4 inches a foot, 4 times 5, yeah, it's 20. So every 4 inches would be a foot. So that would make him. That would be easier for me to designate the heights. But even though when I'm making them, it's going to be random because I'm going by the size of the skull. See I saw on Proco, on that channel Proco, where you can measure. It's called the human body proportions, something like that video, and they're showing how the skull. They're using the skeleton to get the correct human proportions. And I think it's about 12 of these skulls. The other one is the head, the whole entire head, and there's 8 heads in the from the top to the ground, to the top of the head to the ground. But in this new one, it's 12 skulls. They use the back of the head, the width, and to create a circle, and then they put a box around it, and they use that to get the measurements. So that's what I use. I use the skull, to the back of the skulls from here to here, or across like this, to determine the height of my character. So I just went 1, 2, and then down 3, 4, or so on and so forth. So that's how I got my dimensions. I made the skulls first, and then I went on online and I started looking up how to gauge the human proportions. So, and it was the skull technique. It's the same thing for drawing, but even though I never used that when I was a kid coming up, it was from the head to the crotch, crotch to the ground. It's basically the same thing because it's best breaking it down more concisely, more detail, I guess, so you know how to build from the head down. But I always understood that you had to break it up. It didn't matter to me if it's 8 heads or that's 4 and 4 to me. If it's 12 head, that's 6 and 6 to me. So it's still the same. So it's just how you look at it. But building these ragmen really was for the first time have I ever used or even considered the skeletal anatomy. I never really cared about that because it didn't build muscles for me. The only time I cared, and then when I did draw skeletons, I just eyeballed it. Uh, I never really knew how many ribs there were in the rib cage or anything like that until I started building this. And this was just a couple of years ago, around 2016, I think I built the first skull. It's just that I've just been I've been building this hundreds of times in my head, over and over and over and over. So uh, it's just taking me some time to get the procedures right, and some of these are the ones that I showed you. The one with the eyebrows was the very first one that I created, and that was supposed to be maiden voyage, so to speak. But because I made mistakes, I glued the things together too quickly. Um, so in order to go back in there and make repairs or update it to this level of what I have this at, I'm gonna have to tear things apart and almost practically destroy some of the stuff in there. So, and I'm not sure I wanted to do that, but because of the eyebrows, I want to go in there and do that. I want to take it apart and restart, and I don't want to throw anything away. That's one of my main pet peeves. If I start out with something, I hate wasting stuff, so I'm gonna eventually wind up going in there and rebuilding. But this is the first one that I gotten to this level. Others I have where I don't have the covering for the rib cage, but I have the framework for the rib cage that holds everything in place. But this is what I'm looking for, to create something that's totally posable. You can move it. The neck is absolutely, you could roll his neck. You could do whatever you want with this character. It's gonna be, like I said, around 20, 22 inches tall. And this is what it took me so long. I needed to, cause you see some of those Sylvester Stallone and the mini ones that's so like about the size of these, 6 inches, 12 inches, whatever. They have made some made out of silicone with the. I'm gonna go and with the type of armature that but that the same type of armature that was used back when King Kong was made in 1933 or 1932, whenever it was being made, actually. But the 1933 version. So when King Kong was made, it had the very same armature that's basically being used today. They might have streamlined it, made them smaller so that they can make smaller uh, uh, figures out of it, but it's still the same ball and clamp technique, sort of, where they got to screw the outside bars together to hold the ball bearing that's at the end of this bar, which creates the joints. I'm not using that technique, and even in the Adam Savage video where he's talking to uh, Peter Jackson, he says in all of this time, almost 90 years, no one has improved upon it. Well, here's the video right here where he says it.
I've worked on stop motion films,
Yep.
friends that worked on Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure.
The stop motion armatures are still being made exactly this way.
Yeah.
With pressure plates against ball bearings with
Yep.
high sensitivity so that the animators have the right amount of resistance. They can hold themselves up.
And they can tighten them if they need to. They can get a
Yeah.
they can get a screwdriver or an Allen key, or
And they've got
in this case a screwdriver.
threaded
And,
feet so they
yep.
can lock them into the...
Yep.
And so Willis O'Brien, in one fell swoop,
Invented-
invents a technology that no one's been able to improve upon, really.
No.
I mean, the
No.
machining in here, that is incredibly
it's
sensitive,
incredibly sensitive.
beautiful work.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It really
It
is.
is unbelievable.
You see what I'm saying? So this is the evolution. This is something I made. There's no screws in here whatsoever. There's more string than screws, but I use wire hanger to get the framework and some of the skeletons, but and cloth. But everything else I can't really go into detail of how I accomplish it, because like I don't know if you guys people like Adam say I just put this out on the internet. I use wire hangers to build the substructure and the bones for the arms and the legs, stuff like that. But anyway, this is why I created it, because I wanted to be able to. Now this has collarbones. It's gonna have a scapula, shoulder blades, and all of the muscles are going to be connected to the shoulder blades in the back, and then the pectoral muscles will be connected to the collarbone in the front, and over here to the corner of the shoulder, just like the real thing, man. So we got the rib cage, we're gonna have a pelvis bone, and everything is exactly like a human body. So this is, you're gonna be able to move, see, the rotate the shoulder. You're gonna be able to rotate the shoulder, move it up. You can shrug his shoulder. You can bring it down. You can push it back, pull it forward. Everything is going to be just like the human body, even though it doesn't move that much. I just wanted it to be able to move lightweight, you know, going up. You can really put his arm up to his elbow, to the side of his head, so you can have him leaning on his arm or lay down with his arm up above his head. You can do, there's nothing you can have him hanging from his arm, his wrists. There's nothing that you won't be able to do with this character. And he'll bend at the waist, he'll twist at the waist, his wrist will rotate the same way because he's going to have two forearm bones. So it's just going to be exactly like the human anatomy. So this is why I'm doing this. I wanted to show you guys, and it's coming forward. I'm almost ready to the point where I'm going to be attaching these. I'm going to be using this for the pectorals. It seemed to be like the wrist or the waist of sweatshirts is way more stretchy, and that will make it easier to connect the muscle across the chest to the shoulder and be able to move it around without worrying about ripping anything out or destroying anything once everything is connected, because the collarbone is going to hold things in place. Everything is going to be working. Oh man, I'm extremely excited about this, because you don't know, I'm the only person who's doing this in the world. I've looked all over for years online to see if I could find anything so that I could, for instructional purposes, not to determine if I'm the only one, but I'm the only one, and I want to keep it that way for now until everybody knows that I am the one who originated this. Yes, for selfish purposes, for financial purposes. Why shouldn't I reap all of the benefit? If somebody like Adam Savage got a hold of this, right? What do you think is going to happen? The whole industry of stop action animation, all of that, they will use my technique because it's more cost effective. It's more secure. It won't break. It won't come apart. I could throw this across the room and it won't harm it. I won't have to worry about anything breaking. Some things might bend because, like I said, I use hanger for the bones. But so if you ever sat on it or something, you could crush the ribs. But even though I'm gonna have the rib cage filled with material to keep it from doing that, but it's not supposed to be used that way. It's supposed to be something that an older person, because it's gonna cost. If I start selling these, it's gonna cost 4,000 just for the jump, because of all of the technique that I put into it and developing all of this stuff. Nobody else is doing this. No one. So by the time I get this done, and you see all of the rippling muscles, the serratus muscles are gonna be in here, because all of the rib cages are gonna be put in. All of these ribs are gonna be put in, and then I'm gonna put the serratus and then the lats. So I'm gonna have to create connection points for all of that. So, and then slowly build it. I'm gonna have like a coating over this, just like how it is, and then I'm gonna build the deltoids, and then the trapezoid muscles over here. Everything is going to be separated so that you can see it once everything is built. Uh, Everything is going to be, and then I put the skin over the top. Everything's going to look ripped. He's going to look ripped. But this one I want to keep small like this. He's going to be pretty small like this because I want him to look like a regular human being, much like those statues you see artists have that's made out of resin, gray resin. And if I could find a picture online, I'll put it right here so that you can see. And so, and this is going to be around the same height as some of those. I'm like 20 inches, 24 inches tall. And but except for, you're going to be able to pose the elbows, the wrist. Everything's going to be posable. Then I want to have metal weapons to go with it. I'm going to just like I used to make daggers and Bowie knives and swords back in when I was a kid. Um, and these axes and everything. That's what I want to do with metal, and so that he's going to be wielding metal objects, and these is really firm, really strong, so that when you put these metal weapons in his hand, his arm ain't going to droop. Yeah, I made sure that this is extremely strong, and it's not nothing difficult. You can't do it, but it's not going to just drop down because you put a weight. The more worry than I have of that is the knees and the ankles, because it's going to have to carry the whole weight of the entire body plus the weapons. But and then the armor and anything, because I want to eventually have uh, armor that goes on. Like, the first thing I'm gonna do when if I'm selling them to people, is gonna have regular guys, regular clothing, street clothes. Then maybe have a holster that goes either around his waist or the shoulder or whatever. Different types of shoulder holsters, so that I can make weapons like pistols out of old lighters and stuff like that, and coat it with, cover it with aluminum or tin can metal. And I'm going to be making weapons, rifles, all of that stuff. I'm going to get into all of that. So I'm going to need a lot of equipment. I'm going to need to get vices, sewing machines to make the clothes, one for leather for the boots, for streetwear, and maybe sneakers, and socks and underwear, t-shirts, pants, jeans, and stuff like that. Because that's what basically you're going to be offering, two outfits. One where he's in street clothes, and one where he's badass with swords and armor. The first thing I'm going to be working with is gladiator armor, like in the Spartacus, the TV show, or that was on Stars, I believe it was. That's what I'm going to be working on for the first ones. Those are the two items, because I got to start somewhere. So I'm going to stick with just gladiator armor, and then as I get better, the more I do, the better I'm going to get. So I'm going to expand to fantasy armors and medieval armors and all types of different types of alternate clothing. Like SWAT tactical stuff with helmets and all of that stuff, and eventually move to even more than that, to where I'm doing specialty items like Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, but those are going to be specialty. I might not be able to remove the clothes or the uniforms or costumes, because it'll be more like Alex Ross superheroes. The clothing won't be form fitting to where you see all of the rippling muscles. So I would have to create the uniform right onto the figure, so that you get all of those rippling muscles. And you know unless I'm making Alex Ross homages, sort of like that, then I won't have to. Then I can maybe have some way to get them out of the uniforms and have their secret identity. But for now, I don't see that. But with that, the price has got to go up. Like, if you, like Robert De Niro says in Ronin, if it's amateur night, then the price has got to go up. I want my money. I want half up front, the rest in the bank. So uh, the price has got to go up. It has to go up from 4,000 to. It's gonna go up anyway. The first, I'm gonna have a campaign where I have 6 that I think I'll be able to make in a year's time, because the more I do this, the better I get. And the faster I get, it's gonna be like where I could do multiple at a time, multiple skulls, and get it started. And the harder work will be putting on the muscles and the skin, because I have to stitch all of that by hand. So that would be the hardest part, the longest, most time-consuming part. But if I get like on a assembly line, then this should go a lot faster. I might be able to get 6, 7, 8 out a year. So where I'm making Spawn and all of these John Carter, and because I do want to make I want to make demons with horns and all types of Mephistopheles, or whatever you call his name, with the goat beard, chin beard, and all of that stuff like that. I want to make it wings. I want to make all of this stuff, and these types of specialty stuff is gonna run more money. So for now, we're just gonna worry about, and I'm gonna be showing you some pictures of $10,000 cloth figures that you can find on eBay that are nowhere near what I'm trying to bring to you. Fully posable, muscles of all size, from the Spider-Man types to the Superman to the Flash body structures to the Apocalypse to the Hulk. I want to create all body forms. Uh, I'm going to want to stick to my own characters at first. That's why I'm going to have these regular characters at first for people to purchase. They're going to be just regular humans. You're going to be able to choose the hairstyle and color, the facial hairstyles and colors, and the thickness and density of the muscles. You're going to be able to choose all of that. This one alone is the smallest one that I plan on making. This is one I'll be able to make zombies. So that's kind of be like the skinniest kind. And then from there, I can just with this frame alone, I can make from zombies to flashes, just with the size of the muscles. And then as you get more bulky, then you will bring the arm slightly out, maybe the rib cage slightly, but you want to bring the shoulder out slightly more, and then pack on a little bit more muscle, for the Hulks and the more the Pits and the Hulks and the Doomsdays and the Dark Sides and stuff like that. And in between that, you got a whole array of different types of characters just from the size of the muscle. I can make them wider, but make them thin. I can make his shoulders wider, but make them still thin, like the Martians in John Carter. That's one I want to make with those facial horns that he has off the side of his jaw. I would love to make all of that stuff because this is what that intrigues me. So yeah, if you guys, and like I said, this has a collarbone. You can move him, both shoulders can move like this. Both shoulders are able to move, and this is what I'm saying. You have, and it's firm. I'm telling you, it's not like I can do this easily. I really got to put some weight behind this, so that when you get there, you're gonna have to hold the arm in certain ways because the joint in the shoulder is where you're going to want to rotate the arm in and out, and that's, you're going to have to bend the arm, hold it, and then rotate from the elbow so that you can get a good grasp on it, and kind of use the elbow as a fulcrum to rotate the arm, because you're going to have the arm in like this and you're going to have the arm out like that. So you're going to have to rotate. It doesn't rotate at the elbow. It doesn't rotate. It rotates at the joint here, and with the leg, it rotates in the hip. See, people don't know that when you're doing pencil work, and people don't consider that. That's why a lot of people, they don't rotate their biceps when they rotate the arm out. They don't when they're drawing. So that's one of my pet peeves for pencil art. But yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here now. I just want y'all to see what I've been working on because I've been having issues over the winter, so I kind of stopped drawing. But I'm going back in now that the weather's breaking. I resolved some of those issues. Oh, I have to show you this before I go. One of the issues that I had with the drawing is that this is my scanner. You see, this is a rolling scanner, and it doesn't take accurate. It's not accurate, right? Depending on the speed that you scan, it's on you. So if I scan once, half of this, right? It doesn't cover the whole thing. So if I have art from edge to edge, and then this is the cutoffs here, right? So I have a very small spot in between. So if I scan here, and then I move it over and scan the other side, right? Depending on the speed depending on how long it is once it gets into the computer. So this side can be short and this side can be long depending on how the speed is. So the two sides come together and they never adjust, because when you stretch it, the stuff in between stretches. So this stuff is staying the same, so it never lines up. Part of it might line up, but down here it won't line up, right? It might line up here, but down here, because you're adjusting this stuff, right? So I noticed that, and then I thought to myself, daggone, if I'm doing this, I'm going to redo this in a... Matter of fact, I'll just save this for another video. So, yeah, people, this is Monstrositus X, and I'm out. Get back at you next time with more R.A.G.MEN. R.A.G.MEN and Might. Oh yeah, this is what I want to show y'all. The rib cage won't be used plastic anymore. I'm going to try and use sheets like this. It's going to make it heavier, but I think it will be better than the plastic, because I don't know if the plastic is going to degrade over the years. And I know that this is 40 years old, and this is still in good condition. So I know that material will last longer if it's protected with this stuff, right? And plastic, I don't know how long it degrades, even if it's inside with the silicone coating and the material with the silicone and the glue and all of that stuff. It might help to keep oxidation and all of that stuff, but I still don't know if the ribs will degrade in here. So these are for the next 3 that I have. This is going to go on one, and that one, the other one, is going to be cut in half for 2 other rib cages. So this plastic, you see, it's flexible, right, to a certain degree, but I don't know how biodegradable it is. It's made for chemicals. The soap, the detergent, it's made for that. So I'm thinking, because it's made for that, it's going to last a little bit longer. But I don't want to depend on it. 40 years, this stuff starts deteriorating, and will it make my rib cage collapse? So yeah, this is why I'm going to the material, so that everything stays uniform across the board. But it might make it top heavy. It might make it top heavy with that extra material and the weight of the glue and everything. So anyway, that's the only concern I have. So Monstrositus X out, and I will be getting back to you. See, the shoulders would be down here like this, and I might even bring it down more, because I have to readjust the ribs here, and that's gonna be down like this, and then the traps will come over like that. That's why I put it like this, so you can see the traps will come down up in here at the top, and the deltoids will come over the pectoral muscle like that. Well, it would look like that, and then the pec will look like an accordion here, the way it would go across the chest like this until it attached down here at the bottom. Yeah, so that's me, man. Monstrositus X signing out. Same Monstrositus time. No, same Monstrositus channel. Alright, people. Till next time. Peace!